All right, get ready, everyone, because today we are diving deep, deep into the world of L-citrulline. You've probably heard some buzz about this amino acid, yeah, especially if you're into fitness or, heart health, or even, well, let's just say spicing up certain aspects of your life.
Yeah, L-citrulline is definitely having a moment right now. But as always, it's so important to look past the hype and get to, the actual science. And that's why we're here today.
Absolutely. So we're going to break it all down, how L-citrulline actually works in the body
Yeah.
and what it all means for you. But first, just a real quick refresher. What exactly is L-citrulline?
So it's a non-essential amino acid. Basically, this means your body can actually produce some on its own. But you can also give it a boost through your diet or supplements.
Okay, and the name citrulline itself, that's not just a, made-up science word, right?
You're right. It comes from, get this, Citrulus vulgaris, the watermelon.
Watermelon. Okay, now that's something I can get behind. But why all the fuss about this amino acid found in everyone's, favorite summertime treat?
Well, that's where things get really, really interesting. So, L-citrulline converts into another amino acid called arginine, and this happens mainly in the kidneys. And arginine is a precursor to, drumroll please, nitric oxide, or as we all know it, NO. And NO, my friend, is a signaling molecule with huge, huge effects on the body, especially for the cardiovascular system.
Okay, wait a second. NO. I thought that was like pollution, smog, and all that.
You're thinking of nitric oxide out there in the atmosphere, but inside the body, NO has a completely different role and a much more beneficial one. Think of it like this. It's a key that unlocks better blood flow. It tells your blood vessels to relax, to widen. We call this vasodilation.
Okay, starting to see the bigger picture here. Watermelon, amino acids, better blood flow. But how does this all translate to, the actual benefits that everyone keeps talking about?
All right, so let's break it down. We can start with athletic performance. Remember, L-citrulline boosts NO and NO enhances blood flow. So for athletes, what this means is more oxygen and nutrients delivered to their muscles. And what does that mean? Well, we're talking about better endurance, the ability to do more reps at the gym, and, faster recovery after those intense workouts.
Got it. So for those of us who like to hit the gym, it's all about pushing those limits and, bouncing back quicker. I like that. But what about heart health? Where does L-citrulline fit into that?
Well, think back to that vasodilation effect we talked about. That's actually crucial for maintaining healthy blood pressure and supporting, overall good cardiovascular function.
Okay, and I think we could all connect the dots on how that relates to that other area of potential benefit we talked about
Where
earlier.
you got it. Healthy blood flow is really important there too.
So back to our friend the watermelon.
hmm
If I went on like an all watermelon diet, would I basically become a nitric oxide machine?
Well, watermelon is a decent source of L-citrulline, I'll give you that, but you would need to eat a whole lot of it. I mean, think 3 kilograms of watermelon just to get a 10-gram dose of L-citrulline.
Yeah, I don't think my stomach could handle that. So that's where supplements come in, right? A more concentrated dose, no watermelon overload.
Right on. They're definitely a much more manageable and efficient way to increase your intake of L-citrulline.
Gotcha. Now, I've seen both L-citrulline and citrulline malate out there. What's the difference? Or is this just, supplement companies trying to confuse us?
It's actually simpler than it sounds. Citrulline malate is just L-citrulline bound to malic acid, and malic acid is involved in, energy production. Now, there isn't much evidence to say that one form is really better than the other, so you can really just choose whichever works best for you.
Okay, good to know. So let's say I'm all in on the benefits. How much L-citrulline should I actually be taking?
Well, if you're looking for those general health benefits, around 2 grams a day, split into a couple of doses, that's a good place to start. But for athletes who really want to up their performance, I'd say 6 to 8 grams about an hour before training. And just so you know, it's generally very well tolerated, but just like any supplement, going overboard can cause some stomach upset.
Always good to be mindful of that. But, I'm all about optimization. Are there any other supplements or even medications that could work well with L-citrulline, maybe boost the results? Synergies, as they say.
Now you're speaking my language. Combining L-citrulline with arginine, for example, can be a real power move, boosting that NO production even more.
So double down on the amino acids for maximum impact. Yeah, I'm liking this. What else should I be looking at?
Well, there's glutathione. Glutathione is a really powerful antioxidant, and it can actually help protect those NO molecules from breaking down too quickly. It's like giving your NO its own little suit of armor, extending those effects.
Okay, so teamwork makes the dream work. Maximizing that NO power. What else?
Here's one you might not expect. Bicarbonate. Athletes use this often. It's an ergogenic aid, basically meaning it helps them perform better. What's interesting is that L-citrulline might help your body hold onto that bicarbonate more effectively, leading to, well, even greater performance benefits.
Yeah, you're just showing off with the big words now. But seriously, I'm loving these unexpected connections. Anything else I should know before we really dive into the research?
Actually, there's one more synergy that's worth talking about, and this involves a medication that you might already know, statins. They're very commonly prescribed to lower cholesterol, but here's something fascinating. They can also increase the activity of NO synthase, and this is the enzyme that makes NO. So what this means is combining statins with L-citrulline could actually amplify that NO production even further.
Hold on. A cholesterol medication boosting nitric oxide levels. Wow. See, everyone, this is why we do these deep dives. You never know what kind of surprising connections you're going to uncover. And believe me, there's so much more to come. Okay, my brain is buzzing after all those connections. It's like L-citrulline is this hidden superhero working behind the scenes. But let's zoom in on those athletic benefits for a bit. We were talking about how it can impact endurance and strength, but you mentioned that some research is even looking at power output and recovery. I'm all ears.
It's definitely an area that's getting more attention, and for good reason. Remember how we talked about L-citrulline helping reduce fatigue? Well, that's really key for those power-based activities like, weightlifting and sprinting. Those quick bursts of energy, they really demand a lot from your muscles. And L-citrulline, it might actually help delay that feeling of fatigue, so you can perform better and recover faster, even between sets or those quick sprints.
So it's not just about those long hauls. Even if you're all about pushing your limits in the gym or on the track, L-citrulline could be that secret weapon. I like it. But let's shift gears a little bit. We've covered a lot on the physical side, muscles, blood vessels, all that good stuff. What about the brain? Does L-citrulline have any impact up there?
That is a fantastic question, and one that researchers are really starting to dig into. You see, nitric oxide, that star player we've been talking about, it's not just about regulating blood flow. It plays a crucial role in the brain, too. It acts as a signaling molecule, facilitating communication between those neurons.
Hold on, we're going from muscles to brain power now.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting. So how does L-citrulline play into all this?
Well, if L-citrulline boosts NO production, and NO is essential for good brain function, you can kind of see where this is going. Researchers are looking into whether L-citrulline could actually enhance cognitive performance, by supporting those neural pathways.
So are we saying that L-citrulline could be a brain booster? Sign me up. I'm always looking for an edge, especially when it comes to staying sharp.
Well, it's definitely an exciting area of research, and those early findings, they're looking pretty promising. Some studies have shown that taking L-citrulline supplements might lead to some improvements in attention, memory, and even reaction time. And let's be honest, who couldn't use a little help with those?
Not me. But how does that work exactly? What's the mechanism behind these potential cognitive benefits?
Think of it this way. Healthy blood flow is crucial for delivering all that good stuff to the brain, the oxygen, the nutrients. And we know that NO plays a key role in regulating that blood flow. So by increasing NO levels, L-citrulline could be indirectly supporting brain function by making sure those neurons are getting what they need to fire properly.
Makes sense. It's like making sure the brain has all the fuel it needs to perform at its best.
Mhm.
But are we talking about like noticeable improvements here, or are we just splitting hairs?
The research is still ongoing, but there is some evidence that those cognitive benefits could be pretty noticeable. For example, one study, it found that L-citrulline supplements actually improved working memory in healthy adults. And other studies have shown potential benefits for reducing mental fatigue and even improving reaction time.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could shave a few seconds off my reaction time, who knows, maybe I could actually win those intense online games I play.
Yeah.
But seriously, the idea that L-citrulline might help with focus, memory, mental fatigue, that's a game changer. For anyone, really, students, professionals, anyone trying to keep their brain sharp in this crazy world.
Absolutely. And the implications for cognitive health as we get older are really exciting. Cognitive decline, it's a natural part of aging, but researchers are now looking into whether L-citrulline could actually help mitigate those effects, support healthy brain aging.
Now, that's a future I can get behind. Imagine maintaining that mental agility and cognitive function well into our later years. That's a powerful concept.
It is a hopeful prospect for sure, and one that deserves a lot more exploration. But of course, remember, the research is still ongoing, and it's always best to, approach these findings with a healthy amount of skepticism. We need those long-term studies to really understand the extent of L-citrulline's potential benefits for cognitive health.
Good point. But even just the possibility of, like, boosting brain power, that's exciting,
Yeah.
especially when you think about it, along with all the other potential benefits we've been discussing. It seems like L-citrulline is this, like, multifaceted tool that can be used to really optimize different aspects of our health and well-being.
It's definitely a versatile amino acid, that's for sure, and that's what makes it so fascinating. But beyond those established benefits for athletes, for heart health, and for cognitive function, there's another area we haven't really touched on yet, and that's L-citrulline's potential role in sexual health.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. We hinted at it earlier, but let's dive into the details. How exactly does L-citrulline impact sexual function?
Well, healthy blood flow is crucial for, let's just say, optimal performance in that area. And since L-citrulline increases nitric oxide, which we know enhances blood flow, it's not surprising that researchers are looking into its potential benefits for addressing erectile dysfunction.
So it's basically the same mechanism we've been talking about this whole time, improved blood flow, but applied to a specific area of the body. It makes sense, but is there actually evidence to back up these claims?
There have actually been several studies looking at the use of L-citrulline for erectile dysfunction, and the results, they're looking pretty promising. One study found that men who took L-citrulline supplements for a month, they experienced significant improvements in erectile function compared to those who took a placebo.
That's encouraging. But is it like a quick fix, or is it something that needs to be taken consistently to see results?
It's important to remember that L-citrulline, it's not a magic bullet. It works by supporting your body's natural processes. So it's really best to think of it as part of a holistic approach to sexual health. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle, addressing any underlying medical conditions, and of course, talking to a healthcare professional to figure out the best approach.
Absolutely. Always good to have those conversations with a healthcare provider, especially when we're talking about sensitive topics like sexual health. But it's reassuring to know that L-citrulline could be a potential tool in the toolbox.
And what's even more exciting is that L-citrulline might actually have benefits for women's sexual health, too.
Wait, really? I thought this was mostly focused on men's sexual health. Tell me more.
You see, nitric oxide, it's not just important for erectile function, it actually plays a role in female sexual arousal too, by increasing blood flow to the clitoris and the labia. So by boosting NO levels, L-citrulline could help enhance sensitivity and arousal in women.
Okay, that's a whole new level of potential benefits.
Yeah.
This is great news for women who might be experiencing, challenges in that area. It's about time we see more research and solutions in this area.
I completely agree. Women's sexual health is often overlooked, and it's really encouraging to see L-citrulline being explored as a potential solution. But like always, more research is needed to really understand the full scope of its benefits and how it can be best utilized.
This is all so fascinating. But before we get too carried away, I think it's time to bring it all back to the core message here. We've explored so many potential benefits of L-citrulline, but I want to make sure our listeners are walking away with those key takeaways. Let's do a quick recap.
Okay, let's rewind for a second and go over those key points one more time. So we started off talking about how L-citrulline is a non-essential amino acid, right? Meaning your body can actually make a little bit of it on its own, but we can also get it from things like watermelon or probably easier through supplements. Right. And the really interesting part is how L-citrulline transforms in the body. It converts into arginine, which then helps produce nitric oxide, that's NO.
And NO is the star of the show here. It's a signaling molecule that tells those blood vessels to relax, widen, which leads to that boost in blood flow we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And that enhanced blood flow is really the key to all those potential benefits. From athletic performance and better heart health to even potentially addressing erectile dysfunction. And we even talked about how it could help with female sexual arousal, too.
And don't forget about those potential benefits for the brain. By increasing NO, L-citrulline could help with focus, with memory, and maybe even boost our brain power as we get older.
Right. It's amazing how one amino acid can have so many different effects. And what's really fascinating is that you can actually combine L-citrulline with other supplements and medications to enhance those benefits.
Yeah, we talked about combining it with arginine, glutathione, bicarbonate, even statins, those cholesterol medications, which is pretty wild when you think about it.
It's all about knowing how these things interact in the body and finding those strategic combinations. But As always, it's super important to talk to a healthcare professional before you start taking any new supplements, or if you're thinking about combining them with any medications, they can help you make those choices safely and effectively.
For sure, safety always comes first. But with all those potential benefits, it's hard not to be impressed by, you know, by how versatile L-citrulline is.
It really is a fascinating amino acid, and there's still so much research being done. But it's important to remember, it's not a miracle cure-all, and we need more research, especially those long-term studies, to really fully understand all its effects and, all the ways it could be used.
Good point. We got to
Yeah.
keep things in perspective, right? Health and well-being, it's about so much more than just one supplement.
Exactly. It's about lifestyle, nutrition, managing any health conditions you might have, and of course, working with those healthcare professionals to make smart decisions.
Absolutely. But before we wrap things up today, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about, a little challenge. We've covered a lot, from athletic performance, heart health, cognitive function, even sexual health. But what if we're just scratching the surface here? What if L-citrulline, with its ability to boost NO, has even more to offer?
That is a question worth asking. Could L-citrulline play a role in other areas where blood flow and cellular signaling are so important? Things like, immune response, wound healing, maybe even disease prevention.
Wow, some really interesting possibilities there. Seems like every time we learn more about L-citrulline, we uncover even more potential.
It really shows you how complex the body is, how everything is connected. There's always something new to learn, new connections to find, new potential to unlock.
So, to all our listeners out there, keep learning, keep exploring, and never stop asking those questions. The world of health and well-being, it's always evolving, and there's always something new to discover. And until next time, happy diving.